There's a half-second window, right before someone lies to you, where their face tells the truth. A flicker at the corner of the mouth, a blink that lasts too long, a pause that shouldn't be there. Most people never see it. Their brain edits it out before it even reaches conscious thought. But there's a group of people who catch it almost every single time. Not psychologists, not FBI interrogators, not poker champions, survivors of childhood abuse. And the reason why is stranger and sadder than you'd expect. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how the human brain turns pain into perception, how growing up in danger can quietly rewire someone into a walking lie detector. You'll see the real psychology behind it, the moment researchers actually caught this ability on camera, and the one thing almost nobody tells you about what this gift actually costs the people who have it. Because here's the part that doesn't add up. If this is some kind of a superpower, why do the people who have it describe it less like a gift and more like an alarm that never fully turns off? We'll get to that. But first, we need to go back to a house where a little girl learned to read a room before she learned to read a book. Psychologists have a clinical name for what happens to a child raised around unpredictable danger. They call it hypervigilance. It sounds like a diagnosis. It's actually a survival skill, one built the same way a muscle is built, through repetition, through necessity, through 1,000 small moments where noticing something 1 second earlier meant the difference between safety and harm. And once that skill is built, it doesn't stay in childhood. It follows people into boardrooms, job interviews, and friendships, decades later, running quietly in the background of every interaction they have. In the early 2000s, a researcher named Seth Pollack ran an experiment that would end up explaining all of this. He brought in 2 groups of children. One group had experienced physical abuse at home, the other hadn't. Then he showed both groups a series of faces, morphing slowly from one emotion into another, from a neutral, blank expression, frame by frame, into something else entirely. He wanted to know one simple thing: who would notice the change first? The results weren't close. The abused children identified anger in a face faster than the other children did, sometimes catching it in expressions so early and so subtle that the non-abused kids couldn't see anything wrong yet. Their brains weren't smarter. They weren't more observant by nature. They had simply learned, the hard way, that missing the early signs of anger in a caregiver's face could mean getting hurt. So their brains adapted. They built a faster alarm system, and that's when things get strange. Because that alarm system doesn't get uninstalled once the child grows up and leaves the house. It just finds new faces to scan. Fast forward 20 years. That same child is now an adult, sitting across from a coworker who says everything right, smiles at the right moments, says all the correct words, and yet something feels off. Not something they can explain, just a small, cold certainty in their gut that says, this isn't true. 9 times out of 10, they're right. This is where the story usually gets told as an inspiring one. Online, you'll find thousands of posts calling this a superpower. Survivors who can read a liar across a room, who can't be fooled, who see through people like glass. And there's real psychology behind that reputation. The nervous system of someone who grew up in chaos becomes finely tuned to micro-expressions, vocal tension, and the tiny gap between what someone says and how their body says it. Researchers call this earned insight, wisdom built not from comfort, but from necessity. But here's the twist: nobody puts in the inspirational quote. That same radar that catches real danger also fires when there isn't any. Picture a woman, we'll call her Elena, who grew up with a father whose mood could flip in an instant. Calm one moment, terrifying the next. By the time Elena is 30, she's brilliant at her job. Co-workers say she can read a room instantly, sense tension before a meeting even starts. But at home, alone, at night, Elena can't relax. A friend raises their voice while laughing at a joke, and her body goes cold before her mind catches up. A partner goes quiet after a long day, and Elena's stomach drops. Her radar doesn't know the difference between a bad mood and a threat. It was never trained to. It was only trained to survive. This is the part almost nobody talks about. The same nervous system that makes survivors excellent lie detectors also makes it exhausting to simply exist in a room with another person. Because a system built entirely around detecting danger cannot always tell the difference between danger and just being human. That's the open loop from the beginning, finally closing. It's not a superpower, because once, a long time ago, that same sensitivity was the only thing standing between a child and something much worse. So can this actually be turned into something useful instead of something that just hurts? Trauma-informed therapists say yes, but not in the way people expect. The goal was never to shut the radar off completely. You can't, and you wouldn't want to. It's still catching real signals. The goal is teaching the nervous system to ask one extra question before it reacts. Is this actually the danger from back then, or does it just feel familiar? That single pause, that half-second of doubt before the alarm takes over, is where survivors slowly take the wheel back, not by silencing the radar, by finally being the one who decides when to listen to it. So the next time you hear someone say, "Abuse survivors make the best lie detectors," know that it's true, but not because pain made them special. It's because somewhere, a child sat in a room, watching a face for the earliest sign of danger, learning a skill no child should ever have to learn. They didn't choose to become fluent in reading people. They just needed to survive long enough for it to matter.